Hey everybody, it's David R. Becker here with BeckerArt, and today we're going to talk to you a little tip on the most important tip I've got for you is the way to do the BeckerArt three-step. No, it's not a dance, it is a way of I paint every painting, and this is one of my classes now that I've been teaching in every class, is that it doesn't matter if you're painting in watercolor or if I'm painting in gouache, it's a three-step process that I do, and it's awesome. You're going to learn how to do the paintings and do each step separately. And let me just go through this with you really quickly here. And so this is the step I take, and this is a painting I did a couple weeks ago. And let me just take you through this. This is what I call the BeckerArt three-step. The first step that you do is right here. Step number one is the light washes and the color scheme. And what does that mean? I just go for the big light colors and I establish my color scheme the very first thing I do. And of course, the very first step is, and actually it's not a step of painting, it's the drawing. That is number one when it comes to drawing. But when it comes to painting, the number one step is to put in the light colors. And it establishes your color scheme too. So if I'm basically decorating right now, and I'm not putting any kind of detail in there to the fact we're putting fine details. We're not doing pieces. We're doing large areas of light colors, just light colors. No darks in the first wash. I just go in there and I establish my color scheme. Second step would be the middle tones. And then I talk middle tones and darks, and those are the large areas. I mean, I'm talking large. So look at this mountain. The darks that I put in here, the first light wash is all the lights, right? There's no darks in there. There may be some little middle tones, but nothing really established any small darks or even big darks. And so that's just a light wash. The second step would be the dark mediums, and the large dark washes. So large medium washes and large dark washes, which are these. See right here, you're going to go in and do these really large washes, and there may be a little bit more detail in them, but not so much that it's like a small detail. Yes, this is a small area, but it's a big area, all painted together as one unit. And then I go in there, and this is still all my lights, and there are a little bit of this middle tone in here. It's getting a little bit more where you're getting your darks. And again, if there was like a night sky or something like that, this would be the time to do that. So, and I've got another example of this coming up. And so then the third step, of course, is the detailed lights and darks. So if you're using white paint, you can do that with really small details. And so this is basically the small details. This is the houses in the back distance. And yes, in this thing, I did put the medium tones. I did put some of these homes in there. But now I'm putting them in even smaller. And I'm getting more detail to where I'm getting the post right here, the person, his reflection, his shadows. And, if at times when you're doing this scene and when you're doing your lights, you can put in those light things that are details too. It's not like these steps are, you only can do that at that step. But in the end, you're thinking of it as the three steps. And if you all of a sudden have, maybe in your first step, you do a big, large, medium wash, then you kind of put those two steps together, because it's not like you stop and let it dry. Sometimes you'll go from step one to step two in a single wash. So it's just your thinking. It's the way you're thinking and how you're applying the paint down and the process you're doing. It's basically just the process of how I paint and put my pigment down. Not drawing, it's just the painting process. And so, and let me just show you again one more example. So step one again, what is step one? Step one is go and do your lights, right? It's your light colors. And so here, since there's not much light in this picture, sometimes there's not much light. There may be a small tint of color, and this is very much a tint, and this is a tint of color. And you have to wait for your middle tones, your step two, and then when you get to your step two, now I'm doing all my middle tones, my large middle tones, and my large darks. And so the darks that you see back here, and the large middle tones, and this was kind of a middle tone back here, but I kept it towards the light. And actually this is, it turned out darker in the second wash. It looks darker, but that's okay. It's just, I'm establishing my colors too. When I'm doing my first wash, my step one, I do the light parts. And so it's these parts, the lights that kind of establish that this is going to be more blue and orange color scheme. Even though it has a red cup, I'm deciding that the most of it is going to be into the warm oranges, and red can be considered like an orange. It could be more of a yellow red, yellow, orangey red. It doesn't have to be exactly a color scheme of exactly this blue and that orange. No, it can be closer to that, like a warm and cool type of thing. And so that's the first step. Number one, light washes and color scheme. Step two, large middle tones and large dark washes. All the big stuff. And yes, sometimes those things are a little bit more detailed, but not so detailed that you're getting the finished details. And like I said, you can put like the third step three and step two together in one, because but you're going to do the large wash of that first, and then you'll get down right to the step three, which is the detail stuff, like the lines and the lights the curtains and the lace curtains. You're getting detail in there, and the reflections in the cup and the steam. That is the final step. And it is, yes, it could be combined with step two, but the process is to go from step one, step two, step three. And it doesn't have to be a cut. It's like you don't have to stop. You can have some of three into step two, some of step two into step three. But basically, at the end, you're putting in your detailed darks. And I find that these three steps, when you're going to painting process of watercolor, just really works on every single painting I do. And now that I've been teaching for over 30 years, it is just one of those things I go to, and it just works. So use the three-step process, the BeckerArt three-step, and let's see, give me an example of what you had done, and hopefully it'll work for you. It's working for me, and it's working for my students who I'm teaching, so give it a try. Try the BeckerArt three-step, and we'll see where it takes you. And so also follow me. If you like this tip, please subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. And if you would like to paint along with me, do it every Thursday. I try to do it every Thursday on YouTube, and I have a newsletter that I tell you what we're painting on Tuesdays. And so go to my website to find out all those things that we're doing on my website at BeckerArt.net or davidartbecker.com. All right, until then, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.